Now, for those that don't know, I am an Arsenal fan, but I absolutely love watching football from around all of Europe, particularly La Liga and Serie A. And last weekend, I happened to be watching a pretty routine game in AC Milan versus Lecce in the San Siro. AC Milan won the game 3-0 against 10-man Lecce with the usual suspects of Pulisic, Giroud and Leao all scoring goals. And I realized during the game that AC Milan, of recent anyway, have had somewhat of a revival and it's gone completely under the radar, even for big fans of Italian football. Between Inter Milan running away with the title and being so dominant domestically, Bologna surprising everyone under Thiago Motta and looking like if things go their way, they could be playing Champions League football next season. I've already made a video about that. To the defending champions Napoli looking absolutely dreadful and looking like a shell of their former selves. AC Milan have had a very impressive turnaround, winning 7 of their last 7 games and now sitting in second after struggling badly earlier on in the season. But how did Stefano Pioli and AC Milan turn their season around? Well, that's what we'll be talking about today. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Back of the Net here. I hope you're all doing well. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, to start the season, AC Milan weren't great, and the outlook, at least the immediate outlook at the time, wasn't good at all. Finishing 4th last season, AC Milan going into the season were hoping for a much improved season, and having lost just 1, maybe 2 crucial players, one being Sandro Tonali, who left the team he supported since a boy to join Newcastle for 70 million euros, and I mean there's Zlatan Ibrahimovic who left. AC Milan invested well in the summer, bringing in guys like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Luka Romero, Christian Pulisic, Reinders, Okafor, Chukwueze, Yunus Musa, Luka Jovic. They brought in a lot of players that could at least add to the squad depth and maybe make the team a little younger and a little more competitive. So after having a somewhat good transfer window, not great, but a good transfer window, and being able to keep players like Leao and Theo Hernandez at the club, it was more than reasonable to expect AC Milan to have a pretty good season. But to start the season, they just weren't really good. Now, they did win their first 3 games of the season in the league, but their 4th game was the Milan derby, where they got obliterated, losing 5-1 to Inter Milan and looking a class below their city rivals. But after that game, they went on a 6-game unbeaten run where they won 4 league games in a row and drew their first 2 games in the Champions League. So how was it horrible, you might think? Well, after this run, the wheels started to come off. In their next 10 games, they only won 3 of them and lost 5 of them, and the cause for Stefano Pioli to be sacked were pretty loud at this point. But after this 10-game stretch where they just didn't look like AC Milan at all, AC Milan and Stefano Pioli have completely turned it around. Since December 13th, they have lost just 3 games in all competitions. That's right, since that horrible run, they have lost just 3 games in their last 23 in all competitions. That is an outstanding run, including winning 7 of their last 7 games. This season in the league, Juventus are being praised left, right and center for how good they are. Yet AC Milan sits second, 6 points clear of Juventus. AC Milan have scored more goals than Juventus, won more games than Juventus, and have a higher goal difference than Juventus this season in the league. Now, this isn't me taking a shot or trying to hate on Juventus, because I actually think Juventus are a pretty decent team, but it's more to show you how impressive AC Milan have been and how under the radar they have been. And what's so impressive about this season specifically for me is that the stars of AC Milan's team haven't necessarily had earth-shattering season. I mean, Rafael Leao, while having 8 assists in the league, has only scored 6 goals all season long in the league, while below his previous season of 15 goals in the league. The new signings in Luka Jovic, Chukwueze, Okafor have all been pretty underwhelming this season for AC Milan. Fikayo Tomori has also kind of struggled between injury and just overall playing a tad bit under his level. But when you have guys like Giroud and Christian Pulisic playing as well as they have this season, the team is more likely to succeed. Olivier Giroud, at the age of 37, has scored 13 goals in the league, as well as getting 8 assists in the league. Ridiculous for any player, especially a player at the age of 37. Christian Pulisic himself has scored 10 goals in the league and got himself 6 assists on top of that. Really, really impressive from the LeBron James of soccer. And the midfielders Yassine Adli and new signing Reinders have been extremely consistent and very impressive for Milan. Theo Hernandez is picking up his play to the level we expect, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek has gone pretty much under the radar, but he's also been pretty impressive as well for Milan. Since the turn of the year, AC Milan have beaten the likes of Fiorentina, Roma, Napoli and Lazio, showing again why AC Milan have managed to turn their season around. They are able to beat fairly big teams, fairly good teams, quite consistently now. And I mean, Stefano Pioli also has his team playing really good and entertaining football and performing in big games unlike they did earlier on in the season. So with being knocked out of the Champions League earlier in the season, struggling a bit in the league, and despite the fact that they won't be winning the Serie A this season, there's no chance of that. If they finish second place, that is already 2 spots better than they were last season. And what's even more crazy is that despite the beginning of their season being pretty underwhelming, they could end up getting a title at the end of the season. They are still in the Europa League. They are set to be playing Roma in the Europa League. And if they can get through that tie against Roma, then it's very likely that you could see AC Milan at least get to the final, maybe semi-final of the Europa League. And I mean, anything can happen there. If AC Milan can finish second with a Europa League trophy, if you had told me around October, November time that AC Milan will finish second in the table and could win the Europa League, I would be telling you that is not true. That is cap. But it's true. AC Milan have really had a fantastic turnaround. Again, to only lose 3 games in their last 23 in all competitions is mind-numbingly good, and it's not been spoken about nearly enough, even from Italian fans. This turnaround in itself is so impressive, and the Europa League could be a real possibility for AC Milan. But yeah, guys, that's the video. Let me know in the comments below, what are your thoughts about AC Milan's season? What are your thoughts about their turnaround? Do you think they'll win the Europa League? Let me know in the comments below. Please be sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.